infusing it with principles of mindfulness and holistic health, and yes, indeed, joy. To celebrate the spirit of 270 Park and to consecrate this plot of land as something special, please welcome to the mic Mr. Deepak Chopra.
Hello, friends. Please close your eyes. Be careful if you're standing. Breathe in. Exhale. Feel the stillness beneath the movement of this city. Feel the quiet beneath this magnificent building. And sense the silence that gives birth to sound, to thought, to creation. In this stillness lies the field of infinite possibility. Everything we call prosperity, innovation, and success emerges from this invisible source. Before any idea or transaction, there is awareness. Before wealth, there is consciousness. Today, we dedicate this space not only as a building, but as a living organism of creativity, a structure built upon intention, cooperation, and purpose. May it become a vessel through which abundance flows naturally, benefiting all whose lives it touches. True abundance is not the possession of things only. It is the recognition that life itself is infinite, eternal, and unbounded. That creativity is inexhaustible. That giving and receiving are one continuous motion of life. As we consecrate this new home, let us plant in its foundation the seeds of compassion, conscious leadership, and collective well-being. May every idea born here serve humanity. May every voice express wisdom. May every action flow from coherence and love. Let this building remind us that prosperity and purpose are not separate, that the true currency of life is consciousness itself, ever flowing, ever awakening to itself. As we open these doors to the world, may this place radiate harmony, connection, and inspired action. Let us bless all who enter here, that they may know abundance, not as accumulation, but as expansion. Not as profit alone, but as possibility for good. Let us hold this intention together. Abundance is our nature. Consciousness is our foundation. Service is our highest calling. May this consecration anchor those truths so that this building stands as a living symbol of abundance consciousness in action. Jamie Dimon has said that he and his organization and this great institution is here to fulfill everyone's dreams everywhere. To this we might add that a dream that we dream alone remains a dream, but a dream that we dream together becomes reality. God bless.
How about that? So projects like these, they are in fact spirit-filled. You just heard that from Deepak. But there were some days we couldn't find Deepak. He was tuning into another frequency. But when that happened, we turned to our Lord and often our Savior, our Lord, Norman Foster. Norman is arguably the world's greatest living architect, and 270 Park is a prime example of that. But what struck me most about Norman, his design ethos impeccable, off the charts, from another planet. But what struck me most about him is how closely he listens and how fiercely he applies his intellect in support of his clients and friends. He listened closely to Jamie and Jamie's operating committee partners. He translated their words, their values, and their aspirations into a physical manifestation of the culture and the brand in the built environment. Give it up for the Lord, Lord Norman Foster.
Governor Hochul, ladies and gentlemen, as you've seen, this is a somewhat unusual tower. It's not a conventional tower. It's different, and it's different for very positive reasons. So when you came in, you'll have noticed that the building was really hovering over you. It cantilevers out. The fan-like structures create 2.5 times the amount of public space around this building. So it's giving back to the community of which it's a part. But it also has other dimensions. The tower which these fans hold aloft is a healthier than normal building. As you've heard earlier, some of its more spiritual dimensions, but it moves something like twice the amount of fresh air that the codes would normally dictate. It locks into the research studies of the Harvard School of Public Health. All of those issues were embryonic in the very, very first competition entry, which goes back some 7 years, remarkably fast for a building at this scale. And then the spaces, the floor to ceilings, are much more generous than your conventional building. So it's very much about natural light, about connecting to the natural world, the sky, the views, all elements of health. Typically, this is a 60-story building. If it was a conventional building in terms of its floor to ceilings, it would probably be well over 100 stories. And then, as you've heard, there's the sustainability aspects. It's hydro-powered, it's zero carbon, and although you won't notice it, it's highly insulated in terms of conserving energy. So there are 3 layers of glass. And then socially, the exchange floors, it's like a city in microcosm. There are some 16 venues. So in many ways, with a town hall space, incidentally, which is over 3 stories, the same height as this space, halfway up a tall tower. All of these are without precedent. And so it's really the workplace of the future today. But what lies below the surface? What is it that you don't see? Well, there's the physicality of what you don't see. Obviously, this building rests on the foundations. It goes down below and it's into the bedrock of New York. And that bedrock has its intangible elements. So if we talk about this building in terms of sustainability, it's perhaps not that well known that New York itself, by virtue of its density, by virtue of its public transport, its walkability, the mixture of its uses, is in the top 3 most sustainable cities in the United States. And as one city, it's unique in the world. It generates more wealth than any single city on the planet. And 1/4 of that wealth is from the financial sector. And that, of course, is inseparable from JPMorgan. And it's fascinating for me that when I've always admired the New York grid, and the New York grid was a very conscious act of design. 1811 and 1837 was the founding of JPMorgan. So the two are really totally intertwined. So how architecturally do you seek to communicate those values over centuries through a building of history, of tradition? Well, first of all, it is inseparable from the grid itself. It's 4 square, it's right-angled, it occupies a grid. It doesn't use any of the fashionable computer wizardry to create exotic shapes. It's 4 square, it's rooted in tradition. And then, in the same way that the legislation of New York has evolved over time, so the buildings are molded, the characteristic setbacks which were legislated to bring more sunlight, to reduce the shade in the walkable areas, the main boulevards, the street. And talking about a boulevard, Park Avenue itself is one of the great urban spaces in the world, and the shoulders of the building define that. And finally, the structure and the architecture is the celebration of that structure, is clad in bronze. And that is really unusual. Bronze is timeless in its qualities, in its endurance, the way in which it patinates over time is associated with works of sculpture, so that longevity. And perhaps one of the traditional elements of banking has always been the banking hall. The banking hall which is welcoming, which is generous, and although that, as it were, analog age of the banking hall has been superseded by the electronic world, it is here, symbolically, emblematically, of the banking hall. It's associated with that extraordinary tradition. And as we can see, it's one entire city block from Park to Madison, which is handcrafted in very, very few materials: the bronze, the stone, the wood, the glass. And handcrafting is perhaps a reminder that everything here is actually made by hand. And that means really probably hundreds of thousands of people have contributed to this building. The teams within teams, the JPMorgan team, the team of New York at a civic level, the codes, the compliance, the many individuals politically, technically who've been involved, the consultants, the architects, those who've made the building, the many subcontractors. And if I think about my own architect team, then really the architects for this project are Jamie and David Arena. Of course, there are many, many more, but I think of them as the architects, and really this is the occasion to pay tribute to everybody who's contributed to this extraordinary enterprise. Thank you.
Thank you, Lord Foster. Our next speakers are Jerry and, is Rob Spire, but I've known Jerry and Rob for most of my professional life, and I'm proud to call them friends. Well, they are known for developing and owning the most iconic buildings in the world. It's really their commitment to values like humility and humanity which set them and their company apart. On 270, they and their team provided wisdom, clarity, commercial acumen, and technical expertise. But most of all, they gave us confidence. And when you set out to demolish a skyscraper on 48th and Park Avenue, man, you need confidence. Together, Jerry and Rob have been invaluable advisors to this project. They're true titans of real estate in New York City and around the world. We're proud to call them friends of the firm. Please join me in welcoming Rob Spire, CEO of Tishman Speyer Properties.
Thank you, David. As a developer, a partner, and a human being, you're the very best. Wow. It's actually remarkable that we're here today. Who remembers 2021? When people were questioning the future of office, questioning the future of New York City. At that moment of total uncertainty, JPMorgan, really you, Jamie, demonstrated tremendous courage and leadership. By moving forward with 270 Park, you sent the world a message that you believe in New York, that the city is resilient, that we have a great future, and that JPMorgan is leading the way. It was a bold statement and the very definition of civic leadership. So as someone who cares very deeply about New York City, Jamie, thank you. Now, from day one, this project's North Star has been, how does JPMorgan create an incredible space for its people and its customers? How does this building make everyone who passes through those doors happier, healthier, more productive? I should probably leave the mantras to Deepak, but it's not a stretch to say that this was ours. You can see the result in every element of the project. Craftsmanship was not reserved for the finishing touches. It is integral to everything. You see it in the facade, the building systems, the landscape, even the gym equipment. They are all optimized for everyone who crosses this threshold. And that's what makes this the greatest office building in the world. So to the entire team who worked on this project, a heartfelt thank you. Truly incredible. To Jamie and the whole JPMorgan organization, it is a privilege to have your trust. Thank you.
Thank you, Rob. You guys getting tired? No? Okay. You can sit down now. No. Oh, I'm sorry, no chairs. Great cities are built by public and private partnerships. 270 is a good example. 270, in fact, was made possible by a change to the East Midtown zoning, which was sponsored by Mayor Bloomberg some 20 years ago or so. And we were the first to fully use the legislative change. It was a policy change that was great and is great for charitable organizations, property owners, and the citizens of New York City. And it proved that great things could still be done in cities when people cooperate towards a common good. We also want to thank the governor and Janno Lieber and the MTA for their partnership on two significant pieces of public-private collaboration. So as Norman said before, this building is built above, but more importantly, through an active trainway and a brand new concourse which attaches Grand Central to the Long Island Railroad. And when we proposed, Jamie said, well, build it right here on this corner. So when we proposed this to the governor and to the MTA, they were just finishing the concourse in the basement after 11 years of hard work attaching Grand Central to Queens underneath the East River. And we said, listen, all we need are 6 months. We're going to demolish the concourse. We're going to stop the trains, and then we'll put it all back together, all the wires, all the fiber optics, etc. We promise. And in fact, because of their wisdom and because of good public and private partnership, they did it. And we are all the better for it, and I think we delivered on our part of the bargain, and they delivered on theirs. Currently, together, we are fixing the viaduct. The viaduct, for those of you who don't know, is the bridge that is actually Park Avenue. Park Avenue is built on a viaduct. It's been there for sitting out in the rain. Nobody's taking care of it. Together, we are rebuilding it. We're rebuilding the future of New York City. And that is what public and private cooperation is all about. So it is my honor to introduce the 57th Governor of New York State, Kathy Hochul.
Thank you. What a spectacular day this is. I could not be prouder to be a New Yorker or governor at this moment in history, because I believe that future generations will look back at this time and say, yes, despite a global pandemic that brought other cities to its knees, we came roaring back. Because guess what? That's what New Yorkers do. So congratulations to JPMorgan Chase and Jamie Dimon for having the fortitude to see a path forward when others were starting to shrink back. And to all of those who say, I don't know about New York, another business is maybe leaving to go to some other one of the 49 states. I guess there's 49 other states, that's what I'm told. But to have this investment at this moment in time sends an extraordinary signal of confidence. And I might even add a little bit of New York audacity and boldness and ambition and audacity, because that's who we are to our core. So when others say, well, financial services, I'm not sure what's the future. This is the future, my friends. We are living the future in this moment. And relish that, feel the energy. If we're going to go by here and say, what the hell, I'm sorry, what happened here? Mother, forgive me, the job has done this to me. But now Manhattan is the hottest real estate market since 2006. I mean, did anyone foresee this happening? The hottest real estate market, the place where people are coming back to the offices, because we had someone who says, come back to the offices. And if you come back to the offices, I'll give you a place you're never going to want to even go home. It's so incredible here. So to all your family members, explain the long hours, explain the extra time needed in the gym or in eating in one of the incredible restaurants, because this is a sense of place. Indeed, it is a city. And to reimagine this, the fact that fintech jobs in our state have grown by 28% just since 2021. Coincidentally, that's when I became governor. I will not take credit for that. That's 14 times the national average. So I'm making this point loud and clear. Do not bet against New York. Do not bet against New York City. Do not bet against our financial services sector because we are strong. We're as strong as the bronze pillars you see right here that surround us with that sense of strength and endurance, because that's what this building reflects. And I think about what went into this process. And our architect, what an incredible, incredible leader he is, Norman Foster. And I was just wondering, if you have time afterward, maybe we could take a walk down to Penn Station. Just saying. The president said he'll pay for it. I mean, you know, they can do a new ballroom in the White House. Why not make this magnificent? I digress a little bit, I'm sorry. But to JPMorgan, the institution, we're so proud of the history, over 2 centuries of helping us build the infrastructure of its time, but enduring into the future. And to have the inspiration of Deepak Chopra here today reminds us that there are visionary corporate leaders who also think about beyond the economy and corporations and business. They think about the spiritual self and how to lift up all those who consider themselves part of the JPMorgan Chase family, and that's what's so extraordinary. And Rob Spire, what you have done here is magnificent. This is a testament to your company and its willingness to create a mark, a symbol of the future here, and I thank you for that as well. And Jano Lieber, thank you for putting up with all the stress that occurs when we're trying to reimagine how we can deal with projects like these. So I'm going to say this. Anytime you feel you need inspiration, just turning on the news or watching your social media feeds and saying, when will it ever stop? These days are so dark and depressing, and what is happening from Washington to here? Take a breath. Read a good book written by a famous author, calm down, and know that the sheer grandeur of this building, the sheer grandeur of this space should be enough to just calm you down and realize, wait a minute, we're okay. Because we're New Yorkers, nothing ever, ever, ever can keep us down because we always rise up. It is our way. So embrace that sense of being a New Yorker because everybody else is envious of what we have right here, right now. Be reminded there's no place on earth that has the daring and the boldness to do what we just did here. But you were part of this story. And to Gary LaBarbera and to all the 10,000 men and women who came out here in rain and shine, we saw them working day in and day out. They can come by here with their children and grandchildren and say, I helped make this building. And it's going to be here long after any of us. And feel that sense of pride that comes from working with your hands like my dad and my grandpa does because they were steel workers. So embrace that as well. And to our elected officials, we have Jerry Nadler from Congress here. Guess they're not too busy down there right now these days, Jerry. I know you want to go back to work. I know. And all to our leaders in the State Assembly and the Senate and our City Council. It is this partnership, this willingness of New Yorkers, despite our differences, and we have many, we always come together at the right moment in time, and that's what this building symbolizes. Congratulations to everybody.
Thank you, Governor Hochul. Who'd bet on New York? Well, I'll tell you one guy who'd bet on New York. He's sitting right here to my left side. He made a big bet. It's a privilege to introduce our host for today's event, the visionary leader behind 270 Park Avenue and JPMorgan Chase. If you know Jamie, he doesn't like preamble. Like if you come to a meeting, don't do this. Definitely don't do what I'm doing right now. So he's probably not enjoying this, but he deserves it a little bit on this day. You know, he has a job running the world's preeminent bank. The world's preeminent bank. The building of this building was significant to us, but to him it's small in his achievements. But it's so big for us and big for New York City. Yet he was generous with his time and effort. He was fully present for every major decision. We have the greatest spirit-filled person on this stage, Deepak Chopra. Jamie was the spirit that illuminated the building. We have the greatest architect in the world on the stage. Jamie was the de facto architect. We have the greatest developers on the stage, and Jamie was and is the de facto developer. As Rob said, he was courageous. He had the conviction to continue despite obstacles like the pandemic, and there were more. And more importantly, his courage is contagious. I'm usually scared of everything, but he inspired the team to be fearless. And that's what he does to a crowd like this. He inspires you to be fearless and make you believe you can do anything. And when you think you could do anything, look what you can do. He's selfless. For a man in his position, selfless. He made egoless decisions. First, taking on a project big and audacious when he didn't have to. He didn't have to move. He was comfortable where he was. But he took on this project for the right reasons. Second, he made it clear from the beginning, and he made it clear this was not about him. He didn't want it to be about him. It's about the future of this firm, the future of this city, and the future of America. And immediately, he astutely got his talented operating committee involved and assigned each one of them a separate component of the building to shepherd and complete. Like DeWitt Clinton and Teddy Roosevelt, who led at inflection points in the city's history, he gave this city back a little swagger. And you know, he has great real estate instincts. If the banking thing doesn't pan out, he'd make a great developer. Please, welcome to the stage, a patriot, the greatest CEO of the modern age, Mr. Jamie Dimon.
Thank you. Thank you, David. Thank you. What a place. So I really have a bunch of thank yous. I want to go slowly to make sure I cover most of them. I'm going to start with my board of directors. They're here. They actually listened to us walk in one day and say, you know what, we got this idea. We're going to tear down an office tower, go 400 feet below, and build a new one on top. We have to buy air rights. It's going to take 6 years. It costs $4 billion. But they said, okay. But it's also emblematic that they support investment, which we make enormous investments, whether it's technology or data centers or buildings, to support our people and to support our clients. So my hat's off to the board of directors. I want to thank, obviously, Deepak for spiritual. That's true. We all have, that's what drives a lot of us, having purpose in life and trying to make the world a better place. And so thank you for what you did to help. I want to help Norman Foster. His wife is here. I saw Nigel back there, Vishan up there, and all these teams that met consistently all the time and going over and over some of the details on what we need to do to build this unbelievable building. Norman knows that I visited with the teams a lot of your buildings around the world to see what they were and how we can adopt some of the great things that other companies have done in their buildings. So my hat's off to Norman and the team. I want to thank the Spires. I've known them a long time. I have enormous respect for them. This is not typical for them. They normally don't work on someone else's project, but I kind of begged. I wanted people we know and we trust, and both Jerry and his son Rob are leaders in the city, delightful to be with, came to all these meetings. Everyone had opinions about what we should do different, and I think it was the labor of love that made it the best it could possibly be. Where's Gary LaBarbera? There's Gary LaBarbera. Raise your hand. He represented, I think it was 40 unions or 43 unions. 8,000 people worked on this building, including tearing it down, rebuilding it through COVID. You guys went back to work a week or two after COVID. And we gave a barbecue for a lot of the people who worked here and their families right out here a month or two ago to thank them. And boy, did they do, if you walk through this building, the workmanship, the work ethic, and if you came down here, Saturday night or Sunday night. There were people getting things done so we could meet budgets and timetables, and it was exceptional. So Gary, thank you for all the people you represented on these jobs. They also do a tremendous amount of training. So we saw a lot of people here also getting trained properly. I want to thank the governor and Mayor Adams, who's not here, Councilman Keith Powers, who is, because it was collaboration. You know, every step of the way, you know, governments couldn't stop that, but I think we all know that collaborating, you create beautiful structures, you create jobs, you get things done, you train kids, you hire people, and you make yourselves proud of what you build in your city. And I want to thank the governor and also for being here. So thank you. I want to thank David, and who you know, and Jim Shea, raise your hand over there, who really ran the project. I mean, I would like to thank a lot of people who worked on it, but it's represented by you two, again, tireless. Most of us working with both of them, and particularly with you, David, just what a delight. What a delight. I mean, what an artist and a delight and a work ethic. And when you walk through the building, he knew a lot of the people working here from the unions, treated everyone with respect. He's got a new project now, which is fixing 383. And that building over there, we also bought, and we're going to make that a beautiful space. We're looking for restaurants down below to make it some place that people can gather to eat. And I can't thank you enough. And I want to thank all the employees. So we did, in fact, the whole operating committee met all the time. So I see them all up here on the wellness center, on the dining floors, and the conference centers, on the trading floors. And so thank you to the operating committee who just did an exceptional job. I think for all of us, it was kind of a labor of love. It was a little scary because we weren't used to doing that. You know, we basically move paper and money. You know, we're not used to it. So when I say it's a physical labor of love, it was. And now you have something that's permanent, will be here, you know, for 50 or 100 years. And so thank you to the operating committee. And then I want to thank the employees. You know, there's nothing more important than the employees of a company. They're the ones there are 8 trading floors above you, full city blocks. They buy and sell $2 trillion a day of securities. Our company lends $4.5 trillion a year to, or raises capital of clients around the world. In New York City, we have 25,000 employees, 300 branches. I think we bank, I forgot the number, 3 million consumers out of those branches, 1 million small businesses. So we are part of the city in every city. I grew up in Jackson Heights, Queens. We actually did a bus trip there recently. All of my grandparents were Greek immigrants who never finished high school. Boy, I know they might be watching and be proud of what we have done and what we built here to make us all proud of the city. So for all of our employees who work tirelessly for their, not just for their customers, for each other sometimes, and through COVID, it was a beautiful thing to watch. So thank you. Thank you all for coming. Congratulations. And love that flag, too.
Thank you, Jamie. We're going to now bring on the ribbon. If everybody could stay put, we're going to clear the stage and bring the ribbon on. Spencer and Jack, if you could bring the ribbon on stage. We're going to clear the stage. And we're going to take a photograph before we cut the ribbon. And then we will do a countdown from 5 to 0 together when they cut the ribbon. Where's my photographer, Albert? Okay, you let me know when you have the shot, Albert. Okay? Can we move the podium, please? Thank you, sir. Just come this way. Okay, Jamie, don't cut it yet. We're going to... Albert, let me know when you have the shot. You have it? Okay, we're going to count down from 5 to 1. 5, 4, together. 3, 2, 1. Woo!
with OG at a Yankee game. That made the Yankee hat more famous than a Yankee can. You should know I bleed blue, but I ain't a crypto. But I got a gang of walking with my click though. Welcome to the melting pot. Corners where we selling Africa been by the home of the hip hop. Yellow cap, gypsy cap, dollar cap, holla back. For foreigners it ain't fair, they act like they forgot how to act. 8 million stories out there in the naked city. It's a pity half of y'all won't make it. Me, I got a plug special ed, I got it made. If Jesus paying